and I'm going to start with the infinitive construct here, turned out to be the same as the imperative. Now, we got there by two different routes, but that's turned out to be the same. And as it turns out, in the Piel as well, the infinitive construct is exactly the same form as the imperative first form. And granted, you can confuse them, but in context, it's almost impossible to get this mixed up. Like the cow, the infinitive absolute is essentially the same, but it has an O vowel there, the long O vowel. And you see all of this summarized on page 163 in the textbook. Point number 4 gives you the two infinitives. If it's any comfort to you, once we get beyond the cow, about 65% of all the verbs in the Hebrew Bible are in the cow. Okay? The second most common conjugation, I'd have to check my statistics here, but I'd be willing to bet off the top of my head, the second most common conjugation is not the Piel, but, what would you say, David? I'm catching you off guard. I think it's the Hifil, anyway. Yeah, I think it's the Hifil. So by the time we get the Piel's probably third or fourth, but we're really only dealing here with maybe 10 to 15% of the verbs or something like that.
Everyone smiled when you said 65% of the verbs were called because they already knew that. The bad news side of that is the call is the hardest as well, because it's the one that doesn't have some clear marker.
Oh, right. But they already know it.
Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying that in a sense, I mean, there's good news, bad news.
Yeah, well,
you don't realize that we've learned to call. That's really the hardest of all of those.
So, see, now you're even further down the road. That's good news. Where's that bad news? The good news is that all the other ones are pretty easy to spot. Like you got a Dagesh forte in the middle of the letter, right? Okay. Hey, by the way, if you're looking at the top of page 163, you'll notice that the box there under item C, I'm moving backwards now from the infinitive back to the imperative, and reminding ourselves that the imperative in the broad sense, that is the whole imperative system, does not just focus on the second person, which is what we've shown here, but also includes the third persons and the first persons built off the imperfect system. But you already know how to do a third person imperative, right? What do we call that? A jussive. And what's the rule for jussives? How do they relate to the imperfects? Unless something weird's going on, they're the same. So you don't even have to worry about that. What about the first persons? You know how the first person, what do we call the first person? Cohortative. And how does the cohortative relate? You take the imperfect first person and add a comma te. So you can make those forms knowing what you already know. All right? Yeah, Jim.
On the infinitive construct, when you have the
Ooh, look at this. We got student cam now. All right, you're on tape. Wave to the crowd. All right, everybody wave. Good. Question, Jim? Yeah.
The object suffix, you know, in the call changed on the infinitive construct. Does it do that in the PL?
Ooh, now that's a sophisticated question, and I don't want to answer it yet. I always don't want to answer your questions, Jim. Did you ever notice that?
Sorry. I should wait.
Yeah, I keep telling you, you're always 2 steps ahead of me. Here's his question. Did you get it? I think. His question. Yeah, I know. Let's take an example like katalti, because it's an easy one, right? I killed. Now remember, you're asking the question about those so-called object suffixes, right? The direct objects? And if we wanted to say, I killed him, we could add the object suffix who to that, right? Remember this business? So now you got I killed, and now you got I killed him. And remember what we said, that accent shifts over here, and that first vowel, now in a propretonic syllable, goes to schwa, right? Now, your real question is, can you add object suffixes to piel forms? All right? Well, let's just, for the sake of an example, do exactly the same thing in the piel. So here's the form. You just generated this on the quiz. Kitalti is now the piel version of katalti, right? We've made it piel. We got the dagish there. We got our hirik there. If we wanted to add the object suffix hu to that, ki, tal, ti, hu, we can do it. It's the same thing. The accent is going to shift. And now what about any changes in vowel reduction? Well, wouldn't you know, think about this. See, the problem in the kal is that there's your syllable lines. This is tonic, this is pretonic, this is propretonic, and comet shortens to schwa on the propretonic. Let's do the same thing here. Where's your first syllable? Remember syllable division? When we have a dagish forte, there's always a syllable break running right through the middle of it. So your first syllable is kit. Your second syllable is tal. You got two tastes there. Now we have the same syllable division. Kit, tal, ti, hu. Tonic, pretonic. What about this propretonic syllable? It's closed. Can we shorten a closed syllable? No. Not a problem. Can you add object suffixes? Yes. Is there any problem? No. All right? Sorted that out. All right, finally, let's look at the participle, okay, which is shown on page 163, about the middle, at point number 5.